All right, welcome to the Plank Podcast. This is episode 9, and today Mr. Payne, the legend, has returned. But this time he's letting us try his authentic jollof. Is that what it's called?
Jollof.
Jollof?
Jollof rice. And it's not mine. It's
Rice?
It's just jollof. I didn't make this one. So,
This is so good.
Give me some jollof.
It's expensive.
That's something good.
This shrimp?
there is shrimp. There's shrimp, there's chicken, there's beef. Is it spicy?
But you said you didn't make this?
I didn't make it, no.
Look a little bit, but not really.
Good.
So this is what you grew up eating?
This is
Like
amazing.
this is like one of the meals you guys had?
Yes. Yep.
Check yourself before you make yourself.
Definitely try some. This is a massive.
Sweetie, you're right. There you go.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
it's good.
I can't compare it to anything.
I don't know what you're
It's super
I don't have
good.
any-
Spice, flavor.
It is really good.
It's just so like
Um,
It's different.
it's so different.
foreign.
than anything I've ever had.
Yeah.
that one.
It very oddly tastes like if I close my eyes and put
It
them in
tastes
my
like-
mouth, I would guess it was
Heavy.
Italian dish.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
think
I
it
can
tastes
see
like,
that.
That's what I'm saying. It
It's
tastes
got
like
that-
stuffing.
Tastes like stuffing?
Almost.
The
A little
texture?
It's got almost like
bit.
a
A little
dry
bit. The
texture.
texture. That's like the texture. texture.
You know?
Okay.
But it's got way more flavor.
I like that, bro.
That's the texture.
Bruh.
So,
You should have-
she just said something. It's got way more what?
Flavor.
What did I say about our
Yeah.
food? It's all about flavor, right? It's all about flavor.
True.
Isn't Liberia like American? Isn't it originally
There's so much
American?
on your plate.
It's made of.
I'm eating.
So the country was established by freed
We'll
slaves from
rotate every
America,
bite.
right?
We'll
But there are
rotate every
native people
bite.
there as well. So it's really a huge mix of culture, and it's interesting you bring that up because this dish is kind of like how you bring all those cultures together, right? Like everything like Liberia is rice, but then the way this rice is prepared is really influenced a lot by like island people and the Creole people from like Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's places in the U.S. that make this like as well. With like
Similar, right? Like if you think about like jambalaya,
that's
It's
more
a
like
variation
a
of shrimp,
biscuit,
right?
isn't it? Isn't that like
it's more soupy. It can be,
Your
right?
jambalaya is funky. That is a
but yeah.
funky dish.
What is this little bean? It's like a lentil.
it's a lima bean,
Yeah.
right? There's lima
Yep.
beans in
Lima
it.
beans. Yep.
It's fire. It's actually like super good though.
Yeah, it's really
It
good.
is really good.
So would this be like a whole meal, or would this be like a side, or like the whole thing?
This is your main dish, and then you have a bunch of other things that go with it. Yeah. So Marco, jollof rice, beef tacos. Where we at?
Oh, put this inside the beef tacos.
There you go, man. There you
If
go.
we were to mix them together,
He's
it'd be
like, yeah. He's like, why?
We were all
why
amazed
pick
by
when you
that.
combine it, right? That's what's up.
It is, man. It's just amazing. This is my breakfast.
There you go.
That's facts.
It's so good.
Oh god, I'm spilling everywhere.
You're really suing yourself.
That's
Marco's like, give me more.
Bro, Sean's probably so disappointed because we're not here. Yeah.
This
Hey.
is so bust.
No, it tastes like something.
He's been waiting for this for
I
like
said
weeks.
we've been planning this for a while.
I know.
Yeah, where is he?
One of my mom's
I
Is
think
it?
I think it's COVID.
Oh.
Is
yeah.
it?
Oh,
So here's the deal. Tell Sean I'll hook him up when he comes back.
Ooh.
Oh, he'll listen to this. I was telling him to listen to this.
There you go.
But,
I think your flash is on. Yeah.
what kind of like spices do they put in it to make it so like?
All kind of spices, man. That's the thing. Like so, that's why there's so many variations of this, because there's no like recipe. Like this is my mom cooking. Give me this, blah 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 blah, little this, little that.
Like she doesn't follow
Just-
recipes, she just knows.
It's just yeah. And so growing up, you cook with your mom, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you just pick it up, and you do the same thing. You just like, and over years though, things change a little bit, right?
So
Because
you
you're like,
add your own.
like if I'm growing up in the States, I'm like, I might add a little bit of celery to this, right? So somebody in Liberia doesn't have celery, you're never gonna add celery. So then there's all these variations. Yeah, it's cool.
You said your mom's style is better than this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to try that.
What's the difference between this and have you tasted this one?
Yeah.
What's the difference? Like,
The seasonings they use are a little bit different.
is it like more spicy or more?
No, just
It's
different.
really filling.
Yeah.
What's that?
And the texture of the rice is a little bit different too. Yeah.
It's so good.
This is much softer.
Actually,
that's
it
what I
is.
was-
Yeah, it's very soft.
Yeah.
Texture's perfect.
Perfect compared to what?
Our food.
For my
Exactly.
liking.
You see what I'm saying? You can't compare because you don't have anything else to
Just
compare.
for
to.
my liking.
There you go. Yeah.
I like it because it's not as drying as other foods. Like your mouth doesn't get
that's
really
true.
dry.
Yeah, it's not dry at all.
Yeah, it's not dry.
Like I feel like some stuffing and some rice that you eat is like super dry,
Mhm.
and you have to add like sauce to it or something.
Yeah.
The texture is, like, perfect.
Like
I
the
don't even
Chinese
know
rice.
what
Not really. I just kind of thought we were just gonna like taste test stuff.
Right. That was the whole point of this. Yeah. So tomorrow's fruit. It's fruit day. So I'll bring you some.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, do fruit.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Back to back. You should like mash them
pineapple,
together.
variations of mango.
Put, like,
I could.
two-
I've
Or
tried
I could do like
a couple
I could do
things
part one,
that
part
are
two.
native to Liberia.
It'd be easier that way.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing at Myers. Every time
Oh,
we go, I make
simple
my
something
mom,
good on it.
like I make my
Papayas?
mom get like a
Is it
different
really
fruit
serious?
I've never tried
Mr.
before.
Payne,
I got.
Are you bringing in a papaya? Sorry.
I am bringing in a papaya.
Nice.
No, I got dragon.
Love the papaya.
I got dragon. Look at their
Huh? You do? Yeah.
Oh, gross.
You said it's a type of mango,
They
right?
guys waste
No.
so much rice.
It's not.
No, it's totally different.
You gotta-
Oh crap.
Here, I'm
Scoop
just
that in.
see if I can show you something actually. 'Cause
Papaya.
why is that funny? Like, what is that from?
It's a long story.
Okay. That's good enough for me. I'm good. Let's see.
How many fruits are on the line?
Have you ever had dragon fruit?
It's not even a
It's like it's like the texture of like a
So
yeah.
3 for sure.
It's got
There's
like
probably gonna be a lot
flavor.
more, but I can't say for sure because you never know what you're gonna find, right? Like last night I went looking for stuff and I didn't see a lot of good things.
Where do you get them?
Different, like I'll go to Meijer, I'll go to
Myers has a lot of
Um,
fruits, like exotic
Kramer.
fruits.
Wait, are these fruits that are like?
native to Liberia.
Like by myself.
Yeah, or I'll go to like Save a Lot. Sometimes you find random stuff there too. So yeah, just a matter of
Which ones are we thinking? Which ones are you bringing?
for sure pineapple, mango, and papaya.
Does anybody ever go on
I've
a
never had
holiday?
it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I love mango.
Has anybody what? What did you say?
Oh, you're
It's
been.
in Aldi food market.
I've been there.
It's weird to me.
Why?
I don't know.
It got a weird vibe.
Gives me a
It's got a weird vibe.
All these no, all
There's
these
nothing specific.
It is a little weird just because like you don't know what anything like none of the things you know.
All these
Isn't that
weird.
what you
Yeah.
pay for a cart?
Yeah, it's like 25
You like take the you
That's
get
just
the
like-
coin
That's
back,
like
and then you
poison
have to bring
sausage.
your own bag.
Wait,
Yeah.
you get the coin back?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you take the cart back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sussy.
No, you're just paying yourself for your labor,
That's
right?
weird.
It's like
I've never been there.
Oh.
it's literally
That's
but
weird.
it's way cheaper.
Oh.
On certain
And
parts.
That
their
is
their
weird,
fruit
though.
is really nice though.
I want to show you guys like a giant papaya.
But
There you
Remember
go.
when we tried star fruit?
So-
Dumbfounded.
Oh,
Really sorry. If you put sugar on it, it'd be good.
Oh, okay.
So-
Looks like a squash.
Yeah, it can grow as big as a squash. It's a
Is that the one
papaya.
thing
What is it like? What's it?
Are they still talking about Aldi?
Is it comparable to anything?
Wait, is
It's kind of like a melon.
Oh my goodness.
I was gonna say,
That's the
it's
closest
not
thing
like,
I can kind of compare it
it
to.
doesn't have
Fire.
like seeds and stuff. Like
It does have seeds.
I'm
Nobody
thinking
wants
of.
mother
I was
made
thinking of
me
like a
papaya
jackfruit. That's what I was
smoothie.
thinking. Those things are
Oh,
huge.
jackfruits are different,
And I
yeah.
would have you know
I got
that I
freaking-
can-
So here's the thing too. Originally, I was just gonna bring
Look
like
at it,
pieces
all
of
over
fruit,
me.
but I'm actually gonna bring the fruit whole and cut it here,
Yes.
so you see what it looks like inside too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that
Sick.
So who can guess what's next to the papaya though?
Watermelon.
What's inside of it?
What's next to it? There's two
Oh.
things in the picture.
Shoot, I don't even
That looked
know.
like a bell pepper. I didn't really.
Looks like a bell pepper. Good
It
description.
does.
What the heck?
Oh,
Is it a mini papaya?
Looks
No.
like a
Mini-
apple.
It's a baby
You
papaya.
can say apple. It looks like an apple.
It was made from the one guy.
This is always like one of my
Kind of
favorite things
looks
to
like a
show.
little pumpkin.
It is actually a cashew.
What?
Huh?
Aha, there you go. There's a reaction. That's a cashew.
Oh wait, is that
Giant
like
nut?
what's in?
So, pardon?
It's just like a giant nut.
No. So you see on the top,
No.
that's the
What?
seed, and that's the part that they cook or dry out and get the nut from
Oh
it.
my
Oh,
god.
wait,
So that's the actual
before
fruit.
it-
Wait,
Is
what
that
you
from?
say?
Is that where you catch? Is that from Liberia?
Yeah.
Oh
No,
my
it's
gosh.
not. But like it's off of.
Are
the
they
fruit.
good?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh yeah.
I know, but you
Yeah, they're
said
very
it's cashew
juicy.
fruit.
It
They're
is.
kind of spongy.
You can bring a cashew.
I've
Pardon?
never touched.
No, I can't find these here, man. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, dude.
Why don't people eat
That's
cashew?
crazy.
Like, why don't people eat the fruits more often?
Probably
Or
it's
do
just
that?
hard to transport because it's so soft, it's delicate.
Think about
To ship it across the ocean, it'll probably get all bruised and ruined. It won't be worth it. So
Crazy.
yeah. So here's the funny thing
so
though.
many cashew plants.
Here you say cashews,
nuts.
right?
Yeah.
And everybody thinks about the nut.
That's not what I meant.
Back people don't really eat the nut. They eat the cashew and throw the nut out.
That's so weird.
Right.
Wait, do those
I
grow?
was
You get those in
literally
America
just
too?
going to
Like
say-
they grow like that in America?
No.
We can't
Does
really.
all
the
the
stuff
Can't
grow in
go
Liberia?
California, you can grow cashews.
Mhm.
That's about the only place in America right now that grows cashews.
Mm.
Yeah. Which I'm still don't understand why they don't sell their fruit. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's probably more
Yeah.
profitable to them to sell the nuts, and that's why they don't
I didn't
sell
realize
the fruit.
cashews.
Probably
so
it's because
couldn't
probably
grow
what they're
anything.
more known for.
There's
in
like-
America.
There's like, I'm sure there's like fruits that are like,
That bag.
like there's some sort of weird laws about selling fruits in California.
Oh, wait, what, is one of the fruits you're bringing a star fruit?
I can bring a star fruit, but
Oh,
that
those
doesn't
are
grow in
so
Liberia.
good.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's literally the shape of a star, and you just
Dude, I
cut
would
it.
Cut
literally
it.
You
buy-
cut it like an
I would buy
onion.
That's
star
not from
fruit.
Liberia.
No, it's not.
Star fruit.
No.
and dragon fruit.
How hard is like
Dragon fruit, I feel like it's so bland.
Oh yeah.
No,
like,
it doesn't.
we
Yeah,
talk
it
about
has
this.
wanna
no
buy-
flavor.
Yeah, I'm like, how is it a fruit?
It feels like a
It's
kiwi when you
funky.
eat it. Like
Yeah,
the texture.
yeah.
I want to try. People said that the red dragon fruit instead of the white one has way more flavor, and I want to find them, but they're never at Myers.
So
There was some at Mara last night. I
The
got
red
one.
ones?
I got one actually. I'll bring it
Okay, I
tomorrow.
was gonna say.
Oh,
the other night,
I've never tried the red one.
dude, let's go. I've actually always wanted to try that. I've
Yes.
never tried it.
Talk about the weather.
pretty.
What is the
always
weather
wanted to
like?
try it too.
Have you not
The
tried it
weather
either?
is tropical.
Have you not
So
tried
like
it?
the temperature is
I haven't
like
either.
75 to 90 year round.
Okay.
So half the year it rains almost all the time, and then the other half of the year it doesn't rain. So it's very humid.
Does it rain during the warm half or the cold half?
Primarily, well, they're both warm, 70 to 90 all year round, right? And it's just a matter of humidity. So during the rainy season, it's a lot more humid, but then you have winds that come from inland. And then during the dry season, the winds come from the desert. That's why it's drier. Yeah. And so that's the main difference is really humidity. The temperature is pretty much almost constant.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I take it. Obviously, you've never seen snow until you came.
correct. Yeah,
Was it
When-
weird?
I don't remember.
How? When
Oh
did
yeah.
you
How
move?
old are you?
How old
when
were
did
you
you
when you
move
I
here?
was, the first time I moved to the States, I was 6.
Okay.
And I stayed for 3 years, and I went back, and I came back when I was 22.
Wait.
Oh.
Stayed
Oh,
for 3
so-
years. Went back. And
Oh.
came back.
Yeah.
Why did what was the reason for that?
So the first time I came, my dad was coming to school. So we all came. My dad went to grad school, and then we all went back, and we're working. And then the war started, and then yada 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 yada. And I came back because I was running away from the war.
Do you
How
go
did
back
you,
and
like,
visit
yeah,
That's
ever?
crazy.
Yeah, we went back 2 years ago. Yep, took my kids and everything.
Wait. So as
That's
of
nice.
2 years ago, you lived. You still live there?
No, went back and visited.
No, he just goes and
Okay.
visits. Yeah.
That's awesome. How did you get back to America? Like, is it as simple as just getting on a plane and go, or what?
No, dude.
I think so.
No, it's really complicated though. Like, because it should be as simple as you go to the embassy and you apply for visa. I want to go to the U.S. for X, Y, and Z reason, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times you
You
go
have
to the
to have
embassy.
reason?
Pardon?
You have to have a reason.
You have to have a visa.
Yeah.
Yes. If you don't have a visa, you get here, they'll send you to jail and then they'll ship you back.
I said you have to.
Oh,
You have to have a
jeez.
reason.
You bet.
Yes.
Totally Savage knows about
Yeah.
that.
No reason.
And they have to be okay with your reason, and you have to have documentation and justification for your reason. Yeah.
That's so
What was
weird.
your
I
reason?
feel like you should just be able to go.
Well, when I
somewhere
came to
you
school.
want
So my parents were here at the time, and they were able to get me a scholarship to go to school, to a little school in Illinois. And so I came for school. But the funny thing is, the same day I went to get my visa, I had another classmate that went with me, right? So wait, call you in for your interview, go in for my interview. Literally, they asked me like 3 questions. And they're like, come back in 2 weeks to get your visa. This guy went in, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. It's like an hour later, right?
Yeah.
He comes back, he's like, no, they denied me the visa.
Alright.
And they questioned him for like an hour. So it's just,
Look at the draw.
literally, it's like, if that person in the embassy woke up in a good mood, and they're feeling good, they're like, oh yeah, you got visas today. They're like, my wife is mad at me, no visas for anybody. Like, that's what it feels like, you know? Yeah.
to. Does your family live here? Or they.
My immediate family
Okay.
live here, so my parents and all my siblings
Okay.
live here in the States.
Mhm.
My parents go back and forth. They spend
Okay.
half the year here and half the year there. Yeah.
What have? I'm
Half.
assuming the winter.
Yes,
half.
exactly. Yeah. Dad's like, October, okay, bye guys. I'll see you in April. That's,
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah.
How did you get into a college in America?
Applied.
And they're just like, were you like really smart or something?
I like to think of myself as a smart guy.
What was your high school GPA?
We didn't do GPAs though, but I would say like I was like a B plus student.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wait, so you didn't do GPAs, but it's just like letter grades each class?
Mhm.
That's pretty fantastic.
What language they speak in Liberia?
So the official language is English, and then there's 18 other languages.
Can you speak
How many
any
do you
of them?
know
Like,
of
do you
them?
know like bits and pieces of them?
Un po basoru.
Okay.
So that's me saying I speak Basa. Yep.
Who speaks these 18
Wait,
languages?
Pardon?
Or like, who speaks the 18 languages and who speaks English?
Like, well, I didn't hear that. Like, what
Is
parts
there like
speak the
different
different
people that
languages?
speak different languages?
Yes. So it's kind of like, okay, so like if you came to, let's say we just take Michigan for example, right? And you came to Jackson. So, you know, Africa was originally just a tribal group of people. They moved around and lived in tribes, right? So each tribe had their own language. So it's like the tribe that lived in Jackson would have their Jacksonite that they spoke, right? And if you went to Lenawee, they'd have their own language. So different regions in the country spoke different languages.
So weird.
Yeah.
What do you miss most about like where you're from?
People. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty laid back.
You seem you have a lot of friends that are still there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are you ever like in touch with them at all?
The joys of Facebook. Joys of Facebook.
Wait, so
yeah.
you said you went to school in Illinois?
Yes.
How did you get to Michigan? You just-
So there's a saying that when a guy moves, it's usually for two reasons:
Mhm.
money or a girl.
Okay.
So I was dating a girl
So both.
that lived over here. There you go. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny.
That's actually nice.
Did you like go to school to become a counselor, or did you like was that your original plan?
Well, not my original plan, but that's what I did. So when I actually started college, I was a chemistry major, and I wanted to do chemical engineering. But the school I came to didn't have any science programs. So the closest thing was like psychology. So then I did that.
Question: did you end up marrying that girl?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. She's like,
So
well,
you
I don't think this
moved?
long distance thing is going to work. So.
You moved
And I was
for her?
like, yeah. And I was
Oh,
like, okay, so you have a
man,
full-time
dang.
job. I'm doing an internship, right? So what's more
Yeah,
practical?
men give
The
up
practical
for
thing is to
you.
what?
wait.
Move to her.
For me to move, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
So I
you-
get here and she's like, I don't think this is going to work out.
Oh
And
my
I was
god.
like, okay.
So you just stayed here?
Wait,
Yeah, because I mean, at that time I already had a job. I was established. Like, what's
Oh,
the
okay.
point of like
What?
just?
Did
Yeah.
you meet her when you were going to college?
Yeah, we went to college together, all 4 years.
Aww.
Brutal.
Dang.
That is
Did
brutal.
you meet your wife in like Jackson?
Yep, church. So I started going to church while I was working here,
Yeah.
and then started hanging out with her cousins. And like, oh, you need to meet our cousin, and they introduced me to her, and then we started hanging out, and then only she and I were hanging out, and the rest is history. You know.
Nice.
Yeah. So she always says though, she's like, she says when people say, "How did you meet?" She says, "You have to tell them the whole story," because she says I have to talk about my ex, because I wouldn't have been here without my ex. So
Wait, so how long have you been with your current?
we've been married for 13 years.
Ah.
How long?
Holy crap,
13?
13.
Awesome.
Yep.
Wait, so how'd you end up here
Yeah.
in Poland?
At the school,
Yeah.
I had started my counseling practice, and then somebody from the school reached out and said, "Hey, we don't have a counselor at the high school. Would you be willing to like do that as part of your practice?"
Mm.
And I
Who
said,
was
"Sure."
it? Can you say who that was?
I'd rather not.
How many years ago was it?
Like 4 or 5.
Mm. Where were you before here?
So several places. So when I first moved to Michigan, I actually worked right here at Store Camps
Mm.
while I was finishing my graduate work,
Mhm.
and then I got an internship at Lifeways, and then they hired me, and I worked there for a couple of years. Then I worked at Michigan State University for 5 years, and I worked for the state of Michigan for about 5 years before I started my practice.
So how old are you?
Old.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
37.
did not think you were
Take a
that old.
guess.
37.
Huh?
Guess.
I thought you were like
I was gonna say like
Mid-30s.
35.
Oh, you guys
Yeah.
are so
Like,
gracious.
Oh, I thought you were probably
Like
28.
20s.
like I thought you were like
Yeah.
35
Yeah.
like max. Like I did
Yeah.
not know that.
I don't think you're that
Take a
old.
guess.
Well,
I was
now
gonna say-
I'm
I would say
guessing,
lower
like
30s.
41.
I was gonna say
don't
lower
know.
I would have
30s.
guessed like 30s.
Based
Yeah.
upon the past 15 seconds, I'm gonna go with 39.
I would
I'd
say like
say,
I would say
like-
like 40.
I'm 44.
Oh, I was gonna say 41.
I was gonna say
'Cause
33.
I thought 35, and then he said all of those years, and I was like, well, he definitely wasn't in like 16 at the start of those, so.
Right.
So where you're from, do people make like, what are the stereotypes about America that people say?
Like, when do they, yeah,
Oh,
do they, like,
well,
make
I think
fun?
one of the biggest ones is that you guys are lazy.
Dude,
Yeah.
everyone
Everyone
says
That-
that.
that's-
yeah.
And like we like eat a bunch
Pirate
of
pride
food
us right now.
No, not that.
Liberia needs a pirate pride us.
Do you think that?
Is that is it like you think America's lazier than people in Liberia or no?
Well, that's a very general statement, right? It's hard to characterize an entire nation like that. The perception comes from the concept that they don't see a lot of what you do as hard work. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Like,
So, like for them, like it's like going back home. Like somebody's gonna wake up, they're gonna either like go work on a farm. Like there's a lot of manual labor, right? And they look at you and
Yeah, a
like
lot of us stuff we don't do.
people
is make-
people walk everywhere, right? Like there's not a lot of like, especially when I was growing up, not everybody, most people didn't have their own vehicles.
What about now?
There's more, right? But still, for the majority of the people, they walk everywhere. And they're like, oh, they run around their cars with air conditioning, you know, and it's like, so to them, that's like laziness, right? Because they're like, I book everywhere. So,
yeah. Huh. What kind of government does Liberia have?
and even like, it's a democratic government. So,
Yeah.
that's a good
I
question.
know,
Slay.
they're like.
Prior-
I don't know how
so,
you
like-
most of these.
What was it? So there was a war, right? And the war was because people felt that their voices weren't being heard. Okay, and so they decided they're going to overthrow the government. So they overthrew the government, and then the guy that took over was actually a military guy. So it was a coup, really, that actually started all of this. So he took over, but then he wasn't voted for, like in the elections. They actually voted for somebody else, and he's like, "No, I'm not leaving."
Oh.
Right. So then that just started like a downward spiral, right? Because then things started to fall apart, and more people were angry, and then that's how the war started.
Wait, were you around during this time?
I was a kid. Yeah.
How
So
was he
it went
allowed
from
to
a-
say no? I'm not leaving.
It's
Like,
a
why did they just-
military government. It's military. They shoot everybody down.
Oh.
Like literally, they shot the people that were in office.
Yeah.
They took them,
And
tied them
shot
to
'em?
poles, shot them up.
Oh my
So
god.
it was like a dictatorship and then
Yeah.
democratic
Oh my
and then back to dictatorship.
Like
No, it was like so if you really go way back, it was like one party rule. Right? There were two parties in name, but the other party never ever won an election. So one party rule to a coup, right? To a dictatorship, to a war, and then back to a democratic system. So currently it's a democratic system. We've had, 3 or 4 elections since the war with peaceful transition of power. So
Only 3 or 4. So how often?
so the war lasted like 14 years, right? And then it's every 6 years.
Every 6 years, and you can't go more than once.
Pardon?
Like, for the.
Can you? Yeah. Can
You
you?
run?
Oh, you can run more than once, but you can have more than 2 terms.
So just like
It's a 2-term limit, yeah.
Was the war like insane or what?
Yes,
That's just.
Did it go through?
That's a good word.
They
That's a
just
good
made
word.
it.
Pardon?
They just
Did it go
I
through like
just-
where you
I
live?
didn't-
Oh, yeah.
I
So-
expected to.
Sanity was definitely absent.
The war crusade.
Is this in what?
Was the war like insane?
Can you believe you just asked that?
Wait, that's actually a good drawing of Africa.
Yeah, it does.
Everything looks like a chicken nugget. Because chicken nuggets are shaped, right? And if you see like this is Africa, right? So like here's right here. Right, right here. So,
Wait, again.
so we say this is Africa like here. Right? The war started here. Okay? So the rebels entered the country from here and literally worked their way down and across the country because the capital's here.
Yeah.
So they worked their way down and across the country until they got to the capital. So I grew up here.
I was just about to ask that. Where were you?
Yeah, I grew up here. The funny thing is when the war started, I was visiting my grandma who lives here.
Oh no.
Right? So the war starts.
How do you mean like when it started? Like how did you even realize it started? Like people were just like
On the news, yeah.
There's this thing called the news. When people come in and they capture a city, right? And they say, we are now responsible for this city, we're no longer under the government.
Like what was the news saying? They were just saying like
There has been
There is
an
a
incursion of
war.
rebels who are now proclaiming that they now rule this part of the country.
So they came in from outside of the country?
How much did they cover?
Yeah. Pardon?
Like, how much did they like take over?
They took over the whole place
The
eventually.
whole. Oh my god.
That's crazy.
How far away
Holy
in
crap.
love is your grandma's from where you live? Like how long did it take to get there?
So, okay, so
That's
this is
actually
part of it.
nuts.
We have really, really bad roads,
Yeah.
right? So literally it would take like 8 hours,
Oh my gosh.
right? But I went to visit alone.
Oh.
So my family went, we all went, right, and visited, and I was like, I'm gonna hang out here with my cousins. So my parents went back home, I stayed. So the war starts, and I'm there with my grandma and my cousins. So we leave, we go to this country, which is Guinea, right? Because they're like, my uncle was like, I'm not staying here to see what happens. Like, we're not doing that. So we leave, go over here, and we're probably here for like a month or maybe a month and a half. So then I go around this way, and then I go back home, because they're still up in here fighting. And then about 3 months later, guess what?
Wow.
Then they're here too. So, yeah.
So you
After about a year and a half, my dad is like, this is not getting any better. So then we left and we moved to the Ivory Coast, which is the next country over here.
Wait, so what made them want to just go in there and do that?
yeah. What was the you know why like
And where are they from?
They were Liberians, right?
Mhm.
That went and trained somewhere else and then came back to fight because they felt the government was mistreating people. They
So
thought that was the only way they could change things.
they weren't.
So they're fighting their own
wrong.
Yeah, Civil War.
I don't know. I'm really bad at this.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just like, it's funny because the U.S. had its Civil War so long ago that to you guys is just a weird concept, right?
Yeah.
But civil wars happen all over the place all the time,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So it's the same people fighting each other because they don't agree. Yeah,
So they were kind of fighting for the right reasons, but just not in the right way.
correct. They wanted the right things, but the way they went about doing it was not necessarily the best.
That was
Okay.
for 14 years.
This is
14
the-
years. So like they
Oh
fight,
my god.
so they fought,
14.
and when they were almost done, like when almost reached the capital,
Yeah.
they split because even they couldn't agree on certain things, right?
Wow.
So now they're fighting each other and they're fighting the government.
Oh my
So
Right.
god.
it's basically, originally it was government versus rebels.
Correct.
And then it was
And
like
then
a bunch
it
of
was
different
everyone
rebels
versus
versus.
everyone,
Then it was rebels versus government.
And then you guys just dipped.
So-
Yeah, but that's like, yeah.
But the rebels won.
Wait,
yeah.
so how what was your house all
Yeah.
like all messed up?
Do they like?
For the most part, no, actually. There were a couple like bullet holes, but considering everything else, so like, okay, my dad's a pastor.
Uh-huh.
Our house was on the bottom of a hill. At the top of the hill was the church. So one morning, we're like hanging out. All of a sudden, we just hear, and we thought people were shooting. So everybody runs inside, and we're like, that's way too long to be shooting. Like somebody had to run out of bullets by now, right, to reload, but it's just going off.
Yeah.
The church was on fire. So a rocket propelled grenade had gone through the attic and caught things on fire, and the church was just, yeah.
Dang.
So that's what I mean by like bullet holes in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they still live in that? Do they still live in the same place?
My parents? No. I mean, the house is still there. We have relatives that live there, but they don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could still go see it if you want.
Oh yeah. Last
So
time I
you guys,
went.
like,
Last time when I went there.
You moved away until the end of the war and then went back?
Yes and no. So when we moved to Ivory Coast is French speaking.
Mhm.
I didn't know French well enough to go to school in Ivory Coast,
Mm-hmm.
so my older brother and I had to leave and go to the next country over, which is Ghana, to go to school. That's how I ended up going to boarding school. So junior high through high school, I was in Ghana. Graduated from high school, went back to Ivory Coast, trying to figure out what to do for college, and taught at a refugee school for a year.
Wow.
And then things in Liberia had become calm, right? And so then I went back to Liberia and started college in Liberia. So me and my older brother went to Liberia. At that time, my parents had actually moved to the States with my younger siblings. There's a huge age gap between me and my younger siblings. So my next sibling is 8 years younger than me.
Are you the oldest?
No, I'm the second.
Oh.
So I have an older brother. He's like 2.5 years older than me.
Is everything fine in Liberia now?
It's better.
But it's
I
not
would
like.
say it's fine.
Oh.
There's still a
But
lot.
it's
There's still a
better
lot of
than
work
that.
to do. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so how? So back to the Civil War thing. How did that like how did it end? Like, what made them?
So eventually they captured the then president.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they captured him. Off with him. It's horrible. Like you can look it up on YouTube. It's gruesome.
When was that?
Ooh.
Actually, I'm gonna look that up.
When was that?
That's very interesting.
Literally just look up like Liberian Civil War videos. Yeah. And then after that, like they had peacekeeping troops that came in and like tried to like intervene, and eventually they had elections, and yeah.
Did they broadcast when they executed that? When was that?
I don't remember, man. I don't remember.
So-
They broadcast
Yeah,
it.
for some reason I feel like I saw that.
There's videos of it.
No reaction.
Yeah.
So you live on the ocean?
It's messed up. Yeah. Right on the Atlantic
One
Ocean.
time I watched.
Did you
Hence the fish.
yeah, did you do any fishing?
I did not. I mean, I did like
Well, shoot, he lives
we would just like leave lines overnight, like in rivers, and go back in the morning, just pull them out. But I never went like cast and sat there and
Did,
waited.
like,
Yeah, so
anyone-
what was
that,
like your
not
day-to-day
bad?
life like when you like
As a
when you were
kid?
younger?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid.
Wake up in the morning, get ready for school, go to school, come home, do homework, do chores.
So just normal,
normal.
average.
What was the difference between like school here and like school there?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
So a lot of it's more about the culture than necessarily about the school, right?
Yeah.
One, you don't question the teacher,
Yeah.
right? There is corporal punishment.
Mhm.
So literally, spelling bees?
Yeah.
This is how we did spelling bees. We'll have spelling for a week. On Fridays, everybody will line up in front of the class. Perry Lewis, spell Monrovia. If Perry can't spell Monrovia, they go to the next kid, spell Monrovia. If the next kid spells Monrovia, they take a cane. They take a cane, you hold your hand out, and they will hit you as they spell the words. For each letter, you get cane in the palm.
Dang.
That was
crazy.
That was spelling. So,
But I mean, back in the back in the day here, they did things like that.
right, I was a smart aleck, right? And so
Oh.
like people like would pick on me all the time. And so every time it was time for spelling bee, I'd just stay next to somebody who picked on me. I'm like, you better know your spelling words. It's my time to get back at you.
That's epic.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So yeah, I mean that's and then like even like with science, right? Like you guys have labs and stuff like that. We just had to like read and memorize everything. It's like when you have this interaction in chemistry, what does it
So
do?
you pretty much just sat there, read the book, and listened to the teacher. Like it wasn't really any hands-on stuff.
And then I remember last time you were out here, you said you guys would do chores at school.
Oh yeah, so because I went to boarding school, right? So when I went to boarding school, it's a little bit different. So boarding school, you wake up in the morning, you had chores you had to do before you went to school.
Wait, what is boarding school? Oh.
You stay at the school, you live there.
Oh.
So it's kind of like going to college.
Like after
Yeah.
high school, you go there.
Oh.
No, this was during high school. This was during
Was
junior high
his
and high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you wake up, you do your chores, you go to school, you come back, and then there was like a rest time, right? So everybody had to like be on your bunk for a certain amount of time, and then you had like free time for a couple of hours, and then you went and did dinner, and then you had like study hall, and then you went back home. You had like half an hour or so, and then you had lights out.
Why did you go to boarding school?
Because I couldn't go to school in Ivory Coast. Remember, I didn't speak French well enough. And that's where my
so
family
it's the only
lived.
place, like, you could, like, that was
Yes.
available?
Right.
What did you like regular school or like boarding school? Like which one did you like more?
I mean, boarding school was fun.
Mm.
Yeah.
Was it all male?
Yes, all boys school.
Wait, so
That makes sense.
Would you even stay there on the weekends too? Would you stay there like all the time?
All year. I saw my parents twice a year.
Twice
Twice.
a year?
Twice a
Oh,
year.
wow.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
There wasn't any like was there like visiting?
There's visiting, but my parents live so far away.
Oh, it
Right?
was
We didn't have the resources. Literally, it was like,
Yes.
Like how far?
it was like,
Nuts.
man.
Did you know?
It would be like, let's say, driving.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Which
like
did they even have? a car?
24 hours.
Did they drive?
Wow.
Yeah, my dad had a car. But it's just like crossing international borders too. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna go over to the next state over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Was it what'd you like do for fun when you were a kid?
I was gonna ask that too.
played with my friends. I mean, like, what do you do when you're a kid, right?
Like,
Like, what kind
at
of-
boarding
like,
school,
what
like what would you guys
yeah.
do like on the weekends?
So a lot of guys, so like I had a buddy who was from Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we had money, we'd go home to his place,
Mhm.
right? And just go hang out. Yeah. Yeah, we play games. You know, same kind of things to do. We didn't have a lot of electronics, so
Did you
there
play
wasn't that.
sports?
But, yeah.
Like what sports did you have?
Basketball, soccer, track,
What's the main sport? Like
Soccer.
basketball?
Soccer.
If you're a guy, you
Baseball.
play soccer for sure.
soccer. Yeah. Yeah.
Did they
What
have,
about like American football?
Yeah, I
Who's
was
got money for all that junk, man? You got like helmets and pads and all that stuff. Mm.
Sport.
No, just give me a ball, give me some sticks. I got a goal. I'm good. Yeah.
I've never played soccer.
That's fun.
Are you good at soccer?
I'm decent. Yeah. Never really played in school though. I was too much of a nerd. So yeah.
You didn't like play sports at like? Did your boarding school have like team
Oh yeah.
sports?
My brother played basketball.
And you
Yeah.
didn't play those?
Mhm.
I heard
Too much
you
work. So remember, gotta wake up and do chores.
Oh yeah, true. That's
So
a
if you
lot
play
more to your
sports,
schedule.
You do chores, then you go and practice,
Then
then you
practice
come
every
back,
day.
then go to school, then you come back, then you go to practice, then you come back. Do so. I was like,
Wow.
no.
Jesus,
I'm
that's
out.
like college.
Well, that's the thing, right? So when I
It's like
came to the
exactly like
States
college.
and I went to college, I'm like, why do they act like kids? Because to me, they were acting like somebody like
And
just coming to boys' school, right? It's like, dude, like we're done with that. Like, grow up.
But
Yeah.
it's like their first time doing
That's
that.
funny.
Right, it's the first time being away,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah.
What kind of chores are you doing?
Pardon?
What kind of chores did you have to do?
Oh, you know, sweep the vacuum, clean the bathrooms. It's like, it's as if you lived at home.
Oh.
Just did it every day. And on Saturdays, we had inspections.
See
So,
if you did your chores.
boarding school was literally ran by seniors. This is like Harry Potter stuff, right?
No.
Like we have prefects,
That's so cool.
Oh, I wish.
right?
That's cool.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And so, literally, 10 o'clock every Saturday morning, they'd come and inspect all the living quarters.
Yeah.
So to make sure, like, you cleaned your windows, there's no dust, like, you made your beds, like, your bedding was clean, like, and if it wasn't, you were in big trouble.
So there was no teachers at all?
Well, there were teachers. Teachers only got involved if there was a problem.
If they didn't do it,
Yeah.
they'd have to get their hands.
And nothing ever nothing too crazy happened? Nothing like
I don't
Pretty
know.
much just teaches
Oh,
you how to.
sometimes crazy stuff happened, man. Like, so,
Did you ever get in trouble?
I had one of my best friends who was from Liberia too that moved to Ghana. Great athlete, right? But very hot-headed. Okay? So he got there and somebody called him a name and he turned and decked him.
That was definitely not allowed.
No. And then they were like, well, kneel down. That was his punishment for hitting somebody. He has to kneel down. So I kneel down and started walking away. And that person hit him. So then teacher had to get involved. So, yeah, things got crazy. So,
No.
Let's try and Brady into work school.
He's like, no.
Imagine we're running around like cleaning pump.
that's the name of my high school.
How do you say that? Without me
Who wants to guess?
totally
I'm
botching
a
it?
fantas.
No, I'm
It's
quite
definitely
fancy.
like
Fantasy. Nah, that's so hard to say.
Holy
Holy crap.
See, he's
So the
so
M-
loving
the
this. I'm
M-
totally botching this.
The M is silent.
I would say fancifist or something like that. Fancipism.
Fancy, fancy pim.
Fancy
Fancy.
Oh.
Fancy pim. And it literally means like 1,000 gallant men. Brave men.
that's what it means. 1,000 gallons of milk.
No, gallant.
Gallons.
I thought you said
Gallons of men.
1,000 gallons.
wait.
That is
School is 1,000 gallons of men. That's the measurement they use to say we
Yo.
1,000 gallons.
More big God.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. It was on the floor.
It looks like a crushed
It's
candy
like a
bar.
wafer.
Well, I thought
Like
you
a
were
nutter
thinking
butter
that
type
is.
thing.
That tastes does.
Yeah, we gotta clean this up.
Yeah, we're almost out of time. We should clean it up.
Wait, so tomorrow's fruit?
Tomorrow's fruit.
Let's go, baby.
Dude, you need
Let's
the
go.
vlog I made of her school.
All right, do an outro. Or did you already end it?
What?
Yeah, do an outro.
Do an outro.
Everyone talking? Okay. All right, thanks for tuning in. This was episode 9 of The Plank with me, Mr. Payne. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, glad I could.
Thanks. You guys. Oh, you also. All right, welcome to The